and I'm so lucky to have here with me right now Josh Linkner, who just finished his keynote presentation here at OrgPro. Josh, you are the CEO of Detroit Venture Partners, and you have quite a great, impressive business background. I feel like a groupie of yours because I've seen you speak so many times, but you always have such a great message, and I know that your session was just very well received, and you're about to go into a role storming session, which is new here at OrgPro. Can you kind of explain what that role storming process is?
Sure. Well, it's a really fun way of getting the creative juices flowing. It turns out that fear is the #1 blocker of creativity. So that's the thing that holds us back. Even though all of us as human beings have enormous creative capacity, we often suppress it because we're afraid, oh, are we going to look foolish, and what's our boss going to say, this type of thing. So role storming is a really fun technique where you're brainstorming but in character. So for example, if you were brainstorming and you were in the role of Mark Zuckerberg, you're going to come up with some giant crazy idea, but no one's going to laugh at you because Mark said it. And so as an individual contributor, you're now liberated because you don't have to worry, there's no fear, you're just pretending that you're somebody else. So maybe you're role storming as President Barack Obama, or Steve Jobs, or a famous movie star, or even a villain. By the way, sometimes villains are great because if you brainstorm as Darth Vader, you're going to come up with illegal, immoral, unethical ideas. But that's actually great because you don't have to act on them, but at least gets you thinking in a new and fresh and different way. And once you have all those ideas out on the page, you can always pivot and change them to make them more appropriate. But that type of divergent thinking is really the spark that drives creative thought.
Now, I know that that's one recommended way to kind of spur some creativity in the office place. How, if an office has a creative problem or a problem that they need to solve, what's the first step? How do you get this started? How do you implement this?
Well, the first thing is identifying that problem clearly. There's an old saying, you'll never hit a target that you can't see. So clearly defining the problem, directing everyone's creativity toward a specific desired outcome is critical. Then it's a matter of getting warmed up, getting a couple exercises to get the juices flowing. And then as you begin on the creative process, the best thing to do is separate that process into 2 steps. So the first step is just raw creativity. And in other words, if you throw out an idea and everyone else's job is to pounce on it and tell you why it's wrong, the creativity is going to stop. On the other hand, if any idea makes the chalkboard, that's great because then the second step is when you worry about execution and editing it and all that kind of stuff. So giving yourself and your team the freedom to just let all those juices flow is really important. One other fun technique, just since we're talking about techniques, is called the long list. Basically, in this case, quantity drives quality. So you might set a timer and say, okay, we have to come up with 35 ideas in 10 minutes. Mm-hmm. And what happens there is people don't overanalyze it, they don't worry so much, it's just about getting volume out. And because you have to get a longer list of ideas, you get past the obvious ones very quickly. In other words, in a normal brainstorm session, after 6 or 7 ideas, someone says, oh, that's a great idea, we're done. But because you're forced to go longer, it forces your mind to go longer also, and you start coming up with really strange ideas, some of which could be the winners. So in that case, quantity drives quality, the long list.
Interesting. Well, I know that you have a role storming session to get to lead. I'm very excited. I'll be leading one in another room. So I think we should start this process and hopefully solve some of the world's problems.
That's great. Well, thanks again for your contribution as well. Thank you.
Thank you.